I was kind of tired of working super hard to make somebody else rich. It doesn't matter. Buyers don't pay for potential. They pay for proof.
He's driving revenue in the door. But if you mismanage the operations of your business, you never see the money. Well, hello. It's so nice to be with you, Joe. Welcome to the Business Leader Podcast.
Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate you having me on. I'm so excited about doing this with you. I've been looking forward to it for a while, so I can't wait to get started.
Oh, me too. And I mentioned as we were just getting ready to record that you do so much. It's very impressive. I mean, when I go to your website, I think he must be three people. I don't know. But it turns out there are at least two people there because the twin flame group is you and your missus. You guys are two flames that are both working in that same business.
That's
It's
correct. My wife is, she's my mirror soul. She's my other half. She's the one that keeps me going, prays for me when I'm not even aware of doing it. So she absolutely helps this business stand up, does all the stuff behind the scenes for us, coordinating everything and getting us all ready. So this wouldn't be possible without her.
It's really a lovely way to honor her by having your business name reflect that it's the two of you walking together.
100%. We walk through life hand in hand every single day, and business is no different.
That's lovely. Well, Argyle, Texas. So that's the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Correct. Yeah, we're up kind of by Denton, so northwest corner of Dallas. But we've been here for quite a while. So both of our previous businesses were here in the Dallas market, so we're super ingrained in anything and everything throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. But I've also traveled and visited, let's
Mhm.
see, 42 states, helping clients and stuff like that. So been
Mhm.
everywhere, but absolutely Dallas-Fort Worth is our home base.
Very good. Well, in the keynote speaking, the executive coaching, the helping people navigate business ownership, business exits, today in 2025, that all can happen online and on the phone. You don't have to be geographically, situated to make those things happen. So, well, I want to take you back to the beginning. So, you started with kind of a phone repair electronics shop. And like so many business leaders, you were tired of having a 9 to 5 and reporting to somebody else, and you thought, maybe I can strike out on my own. Tell us how you started.
Yeah, that's going back just a little bit, but you're absolutely correct. 9 to 5 might be the nice way of putting it. I think I was working more like 100 hours a week.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, so I was completely burnt out, excuse me, in corporate. I had spent years in kind of climbing the corporate ladder, senior leadership roles at companies like Best Buy, Radio Shack, Target. But I was craving for my own. I was kind of tired of working super hard to make somebody else rich.
Yeah.
And so it all changed in just a moment, really. The phone rang. It was a former friend and a colleague of mine.
Mhm.
He lived in Cleveland, but his dad lives here in Dallas and wanted to help, the son start his first business. And he wanted to do electronics repair. And I had had some experience in electronics at those places I just previously mentioned. Plus, I knew the market.
Mhm.
So it was a great fit. So we partnered and we opened the UBIF franchise. But it wasn't really just the opportunity that was exciting for me. It was really a challenge, getting the opportunity to build my own team, manage the P&L, create systems from scratch,
A
kind of all
lot to
that
do.
stuff.
A
Yeah.
lot to do. A lot of choices. It's, when you start with a blank piece of paper, that can be daunting, but good for you. And you sold that opportunity successfully. In fact, it was such a strong location that the overall company said, could we buy it from you? And then could we use all your training materials, please? And could you go nationwide and tell people how to run a great store? So at least you had a tip of the hat, on your way out the door.
Yeah, definitely. So we had gotten it up to 12 brick and mortar locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, plus 10 remote vans. So we could go anywhere within that Dallas market. And as a result, as you mentioned, the franchisor, Shurion, it decided to buy us. They wanted to make that market corporate owned because it was such an important market for them nationally. And
Mhm.
they took our training onboarding program that we had for new technicians and applied it nationwide. I had the opportunity to stay on with them post acquisition and cover the entire nation on the remote tech fleet side. So it was a big win. We did a
Mhm.
lot of stuff right, but I learned some kind of painful but powerful lessons as a result of that also.
It's so interesting to hear you say that because you learn things in selling a business that you wouldn't have expected during the time you were building the business. So share a little bit, and I think mostly it was a sense that you left some money on the table.
Yes, we definitely left some money on the table because in reality, here's the painful truth that I learned going through that process. And that is a buyer, whoever that is, individual, company, private equity firm, it doesn't matter. Buyers don't pay for potential. They pay for proof.
Yeah, and cash
They
flow.
want
I like cash
proof.
flow for some reason.
Exactly. They want it way before you start talking deal. They want clean operations, transferable leadership, a business that runs with like clockwork without the founder having to be there.
Right.
Had we started that a little bit earlier, our multiplier would have been significantly higher. And instead, we left, truthfully, millions of dollars on the table. But you live and you learn, and
Mhm.
that lesson reshaped everything that I did from that point forward.
The business leaders I speak to in this podcast really walk their talk, as do you. You did this successfully, and then you went and did it again in a second business. But your exit in the second business was more profitable than your first one because you learned through your first exit. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, everything changed, to be honest with you, especially my mindset.
Mhm.
So the first one I went in thinking this is going to be the business that I got until I retired. I'm going to pass it on to my kids. The second time I went into it, I didn't want to build a business that would run. I wanted to build a business that someone else would want to buy.
There you go.
So it was a completely different industry. It
That's
was
a different
landscaping,
orientation. Landscaping is a different business, but the orientation is I'm building to sell. Build to
100%.
sell. Mhm.
Yeah. I ultimately focused on three questions, and I asked this for every decision we ever had to make.
Mhm.
If we make this decision, can it run without me?
Mhm.
Is the revenue predictable? And is the system scalable? And if any of those were no, we did not do it.
Oh.
So that led to a lot of recurring revenue, a leadership team that could make decisions without me,
Mhm.
investor grade metrics, not CPA, investor grade metrics.
Which
We were
is the next
tracking more.
level. Hmm.
Yeah, it's a whole new level. So tracking the right stuff, not vanity metrics is what I kind of call them, but like the stuff that actually makes things happen, your customer churn, the percentage of your revenue that comes from your top customers versus being more diversified. Like all of those types of little things along the way make such an amazing impact at the end when it's time to exit.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And we've both lived a little bit of life so far, and we realize that we might not live forever. And so at some point, somebody else is going to run that business if it still continues. You'll sell it, and somebody else will have to run it, operate it, grow it, adapt to whatever the change in marketplace is. So having those things in mind in the growth and development of it just puts you kind of ahead of what your competition is doing. So, no, that's really exciting. And you have a framework, the 4 MOs, you call it. And so, do you want to share a little bit about that guideline for people that are in businesses now and see not only are they asking the three questions you ask, but are they using some kind of framework like the one you're about to mention?
Yeah, absolutely. So four MOs, I'm a crime buff. So if you watch any crime drama, MO is typically an acronym that is associated and it originally goes back to ancient Greece modus operandi, which is basically just method of operation translated to English. So
Hmm.
it's applying a framework using your terminology. And it all hit me one afternoon. I was sitting in a park, had a very long, stressful day, that particular day, and I was just like eating dinner, trying to unwind. And there was a group of kids across the park playing basketball. And they were far enough away, I couldn't hear anything they were saying, but close enough that I could watch the action. They're just a group of kids. It's half court, no scoreboard, no refs, just sneakers squeaking in a concrete, right? But here's the piece. Like I could tell which of the kids were keeping score and which ones were just playing around. I mean, you can feel it. There's urgency, there's communication, the way they defended, the way they celebrated. They weren't playing anymore. They were competing. And it hit me so hard that people play differently when they keep score. I want to say that again, if it's okay, and really emphasize one particular word. People play differently when they keep score. It's
Mhm.
not about you keeping score for your team. It's about them keeping score. So that's all what the four MOs are designed to do. So the
Mhm.
four of them are goals, like where are we going?
Mhm.
Milestones is the second one. When are we going to get there?
Mhm.
Actions is the third one. What needs to happen? What do we need to do? And finally, accountability. Who owns what and when are they going to do it? It
Mhm.
sounds simple, but I assure you, I've done it multiple businesses myself and I've helped hundreds of clients apply the framework as well. It's
Mhm.
simple, but it's super powerful because without that structure, people have a tendency to drift. They confuse like activity with progress, but
Mhm.
having a visual scoreboard, something that they can both see and feel,
Mhm.
then all of a sudden alignment will kick in and transformation will occur from a team of doers to a team of drivers.
That's so interesting. You have a book also that outlines this. Say the name of your book for me.
It's called Driving, Not Surviving, the Four Modus Operandi of Achievement.
Very good. So I know sometimes people go into work and they think their job is to answer email. You know, they're just going to kind of keep up with all the water that's spilled over the side. We'll mop that up and the email is done for today. Now I'm going to go home. But if you don't have a framework around achievement and goals and accountability, just clicking and sending probably isn't your job. That's probably it's a component of your job, like showing up, but maybe more has to be literally accomplished than hitting reply and send. So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely true. I also talk to so many owners and founders that think chasing revenue is like the most important thing that they need to do today. And don't get me wrong, we all need sales or the company implodes, right? But just because your sales are increasing does not mean that your company is automatically increasing in value. In fact, the opposite could be true. I've seen so many times working at a private equity firm where $10 million businesses are worth less than $2 million businesses because they're chaotic and they have high churn or no systems, or they're so dependent on the founder because the founder started it, passionate about it, best salesperson, they got the relationships. And you
mhm,
take that individual out of the equation, and all of a sudden the company's not worth as much. So when you do have a framework and you apply a framework that can work without you, then
mhm.
all of a sudden you're worth more. Whether you're bringing in more or not, you're worth more.
What's really inspiring as I hear you talk? I was interviewing someone who does advertising. He's opened his own consulting firm and he can help people sell more widgets or more whatever they're doing. And, give me your budget, we'll dial in your market, we'll sell more. But he's so disappointed that some of his clients, are proud that they're selling seven figures worth of goods. They're not even taking home $100,000. They don't operate a business effectively. He can drive revenue, as you say, he's driving revenue in the door. But if you mismanage the operations of your business, you never see the money. You don't even,
Yeah,
you never see the money. Where someone who, as a coaching and consulting that you do, or helping someone guide whether is your business ready to sell, you can look at those operations and say, we have some work to do here. So,
definitely, definitely. It's all about helping founders shift from making money
mhm,
to actually building value. And there's so many different areas of the business. That's why there's so many lines in a P&L. Top line is just one line. That's the revenue coming in. There's what, 60-ish, depending on the complexity of your business, additional lines before you get to the bottom line profit of your organization, that
mhm.
any of those that are mismanaged, mishandled, anything like that, it's going to decrease your value no matter how much the top line is.
I wanted to ask you, someday you won't be working full time in this business, perhaps. I imagine you'll sell it and you won't leave any money on the table now that you know how to do that. But what two things would you do when you throttle back a little bit? When you're kind of feel like you've played all this game you want to play and you want to do something else? I know you had two sort of different thoughts about what you might do.
Yeah, for sure. I love the ability to give back specifically to the youth. So you're right. It's probably a combination of two different things. The first one would be teaching strategy at the college level.
Mhm.
Not textbook theory, but like real world application to help that next generation of entrepreneurs not have to go through the painful experiences that I had to go through so
Mhm.
they can build bigger and smarter at a faster rate.
Mhm.
The second one would be kind of off the grid, out in the middle of nowhere,
Mm,
forest, wilderness retreat for founders who need to unplug, reset, reconnect.
mhm,
So often I've been there myself. You get into the day-to-day minutia of just whatever it takes to run your operation, and you almost get to a place in which you forget why you started to begin with. And if you can just step back for a minute, even if it's to a completely secluded area, generally that actually works better. You
mhm,
can sometimes have the best breakthroughs
mhm.
to get through the noise of whatever's going
You've
on and be
unplugged
able to
all of
go
it,
back to it.
right?
Yeah,
There's no email, you're not taking calls, you've just unplugged all of it. And a few starry nights can do amazing things for your mindset
100%. Definitely.
and to kind of relax those muscles that have been so tense you forgot what it was like when they were relaxed. It's like, why are my shoulders up by my ears all the time?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, the last thing I wanted to leave with, I know that most of the business leaders that I work with in this podcast also give back. They walk their talk. They've been successful in business. They can tell you chapter and verse. This is how you do it. Turn left, don't turn right here. Think about this, manage your mindset, all of those good tips. But they also give back in one way or another. And you have a poignant chapter in your life as a way that you give back, you and your twin flame. And so a few years ago, you had a son who decided not to continue in this world. And so he opted out of continuing to live. And that is a difficult thing that we have a minor epidemic of right now. So you and your wife focus on giving back for mental health for people that are at an intersection where they might be thinking about a choice like that. A national foundation in Salt Lake that you support every year, apart from the church, and the community things you do to support. Do you want to share a little bit about that when we go through difficult times, finding a way to give back sometimes can restore, that we're doing what we can in the here and now.
Absolutely. So you're correct. My wife and I, went through a fairly traumatic experience roughly 8 years ago when, as you mentioned, our son
Mhm,
decided to
mhm,
not continue,
mhm,
right? And that changes everything really in your world. The way you look at things, what you do on a day-to-day basis changes, and ultimately your priorities change.
mhm.
And we did not and still do not want anyone else to have to go through that pain and anguish that we
Yes,
did.
yes.
So we're exceptionally passionate about giving back to the mental wellness community. There is a nationwide organization we support every single year that does fundraiser events and walkathons and things of that nature. They're based in Salt Lake, but they have a nationwide presence
We'll
so that
include a
ultimately
link in the notes so that people
please
could
do. That would be
learn more.
fantastic.
Mhm,
If we can help one person through that process, then it's all worth it.
mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we want everyone to feel valued. And to your point, there's an epidemic going on in mental wellness today, and we want to be just a piece of the healing process that needs to begin within that framework.
It's someone who really understands what it is and can give back in a meaningful way. So I applaud you for doing that and for supporting your twin flame in this amazing business that you guys do together. So everyone click down below and check out the book, check out this foundation if you are in a giving mode. And also, when you go through that book, you'll look at a framework and a mindset to help you be more effective in your business, not leave any money on the table. We don't want to leave money on the table. So, how do people find you? I know you have a website. You want to share that?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a website. It's twinflametx.com. And you can go on there, see all the different services that we provide, how we help owners create that framework specifically for the organization that they already have. Or
Mhm,
if they're just starting out, maybe coming out of the military, coming out of college, what have you, and don't know how to get into entrepreneurship, we can help them close that gap by first finding out what's passionate for them. Because if you lose the passion along the way, the business is going to fall apart. So
mhm.
we can marry those two things together and either help someone become an entrepreneur or help the entrepreneur that's already there build a legacy, not just a business.
That's so good. Thriving, thriving. So, it's been a delight to spend time with you, Joe. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see everybody else next time.
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate you having me on.